The purpose of this video is to provide you with an overview of how to complete this chart. So let's begin by reviewing its purpose and description. The purpose of this exercise is threefold. Number one, to help you form a basic understanding of how theory and social policies are connected by focusing on the assumptions and orientation of each theory. Two, to illustrate how theories can be classified based on their assumptions. And three, to help prepare you for the theory critique paper. It helps because the information that you will need for your paper will be organized here. Of course, for your paper, you will need to include much more detail than is required to complete this chart. This chart is to be completed throughout the semester. In other words, you will not complete this chart all at once. Instead, you will fill in information as we cover each additional theory. With that said, each time you see this chart, it will ask you to fill in information about a theory. For this week, all you need to do is define the assumptions of human nature, or at least provide a description of it. So as discussed in your textbook, theories can be classified in several different ways. For instance, they can be categorized as micro-level or macro-level theories, or they can be grouped together based on the assumptions that they make about human nature, the latter of which is how theories are organized in this chart. You should be able to find this information in your textbook, or you can follow along. For the first assumption, to assume that humans are naturally pleasure-seeking, or what is referred to as hedonistic calculus, is to say that people are self-interested and adhere to the pleasure-pain principle. This principle refers to the idea that people will seek to maximize pleasure while minimizing pain. This principle is what guides their behavior. So, committing a crime may be viewed as pleasurable, especially if it yields monetary gains. However, one would refrain from committing said crimes if the associated punishment, such as a long prison sentence, is perceived as being too painful. With this example in mind, you can equate this assumption with people being born bad and only behave in good ways because the cost of doing so is perceived as too high. So, where you are supposed to insert the definition or description, you can simply type, people are born bad. Okay, you can also provide more information. Your book does say that they are selfish, greedy, etc. Okay, and I also put in the pleasure-pain principle here as well. All right. As for the second assumption, altruism means that people are naturally good. And the only reason why they would exhibit bad behaviors is because something or some factors pushed or pulled them to do so. So an example would be a father stealing food to feed his family. His intentions are good, but the act itself is illegal. Okay. Next, to assume that humans are naturally social is to say that they are naturally gravitate towards other. I'm just going to focus on altruism. For this one, I'm just going to say people are born good. Okay, again, you can add more information. They are giving and benevolent. Okay. And for social, you can say that people naturally gravitate towards others. Okay. Blank slate. Blank slate or tabula rasa assumes that humans are born with no nature and that their behaviors are learned from observing or interacting with others. So put simply, they are born neither good or bad. So think about this. If you drive a car, then you must have learned it. That is, someone taught you how to operate a vehicle. Similarly, if someone steals a car, then this person must have, one, learned how to steal it, and two, that it is okay to steal it. So again, the idea is that people are born with no nature, but they learn to behave a certain way. So people are born with no nature. They are. Okay. Finally, to assume or the assumption that humans are active thinkers or reflective individuals means that they are capable of shaping their own destinies. Humans are capable of reflecting on their own behaviors and can form a sense of self through social interactions. You're going to learn more about this assumptions once we get to labeling theory. So hint, hint, labeling theory actually falls under active thinkers or reflective individuals. So we can just put that active. Okay, now that you know what each assumptions mean, all you have to do is type in this information, what I just did, save it, and then submit it to Blackboard to receive your points. There will be another instructional video on how to fill in this chart for a specific theory in the upcoming weeks, so stay tuned.